Our readings today remind me just how easily we create separation, how easy it is to create us and them, how we humans seem to buy into the notion that life is a zero-sum game. The logic is something like if I want or need something, then I have to limit what you have. Capitalism and the machinations of the 1% have helped us buy into this mythology. And many people do travel through the world without realizing that it is mythology and that another way is in fact possible. If we live thinking that the pie is not big enough for all of us, we will continue to find ways to step on those whom we deem beneath us. We as Unitarian Universalists, however, have been given a mighty charge. Our sixth principle, which I shall remind you, is not a suggestion, but rather a core belief, states that we endeavor to affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. For all. The very nature of our religion is telling us that hierarchy is not acceptable, that borders and the violence created in the quest to maintain borders is not acceptable, that labeling people enemies based on their location in the world, or the color of their skin, or the god they worship, or the language they speak, is not acceptable. And yet, that is the world we live in. That is the country we live in. A place so enamored with its own mythology of exceptionalism that we cannot look into the mirror and see the havoc we create around the world and in our own backyard. But we as UUs do not have to sit idly by and say, that's just the way it is. We can and do model a different way. In our congregations, and through the Unitarian Universalist Association, which is an association of congregations, we practice, or at least try to, a model that is not zero-sum, a model that values the ideal of world community. A few months ago, and I know on more than one occasion, I have spoken about my mentor, Dr. Betty Reardon. I want to share some more wisdom passed to me from Betty, as I see it as a direct connection between Unitarian Universalism and peace education. In the 1980s, Betty wrote a wonderful book called Comprehensive Peace Education and put forth her 3 core values of peace education. These core values became the basis for my doctoral research 20 years ago and subsequent book, and they continue to guide my thinking as an educator, activist, parent, and minister. The 3 core values of peace education are global citizenship, humane relationship, and planetary stewardship. But today, I will focus on the first, global citizenship, since I see it directly connected to the 6th principle. Now, you've all heard me quote Carl Sagan before. We are all star stuff. When I first read about the value of global citizenship, that's where my mind went. If we are all star stuff, then we are all citizens of the cosmos, thus citizens of the world. I may have an American passport, but I am a global citizen because I acknowledge that my existence is directly related to countless other existences on the planet. And not just people I cohabitate or work or live with or were born from. My actions, our actions as a community, a country, have an impact on people thousands of miles away. If we pollute an area in the Atlantic Ocean, it doesn't stay there. It spreads, since the Atlantic Ocean is really just a subset of one large interconnected body of water. Our impact, on land or in sea, is never isolated. So if we shift our thinking and see ourselves as global citizens, rather than Americans or whatever you call yourself, it becomes a lot harder to play the game of us and them. There is no them. There is only us. So if we want to see peace, liberty, and justice for all, we first have to decide what we mean by all. And since the principle says world community, then that all really means all. And to live into it, we can become involved in the work of international human rights and the efforts of the United Nations. But another way for us to think about how to live into the sixth principle can be found in that simple adage, think globally, act locally. If we believe in world community and we want to see peace, liberty, and justice for all, then we can make the decision to have a global mindset, a mindset that allows us to see the big picture, the interconnections, allowing us to make necessary connections between what we do here and how it affects folks over there or everywhere. Global citizenship is in essence a mindfulness practice. If we remember that we are citizens of the planet, not the US or Kingston or Woodstock, then we can use that as a barometer for the decisions we make, the actions we take, and the work we choose to do as individuals or as a congregation. And if we want to get super local, we can ensure that even in our little microcosm, our direct UU community, we are ensuring and demonstrating to everyone who walks through the door or into a Zoom room that they can see us modeling peace, liberty, and justice for all. So this week I invite you to see what it feels like to shift your mindset, to imagine yourself as a global citizen of the cosmos, and make your decisions with that in mind. See if something shifts for you, and see if it's a way to help us think about where we go next as Unitarian Universalists, endeavoring to live into this sixth principle. May it be so.